the technology stuff. So much work.
I'm going to try some headphones and see if it works.
Sounds good to me.
But I haven't used them on Discord yet, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, we are live, and we got about 50 seconds to go here. This is an easy ride, easy pace. One and a half to 2 watts per kilogram. All right, here we go, rolling. So welcome to the ODivaZ Chat and Chill ride. This is a ride that happens every Monday at 6 a.m. Central Time in the U.S. And we have our conversations through Discord. Lots of ladies here today. Great to see everyone. So as usual, we will talk about topics of interest to the group. Everybody's welcome to join in, ask questions, bring their own topics, share their experiences. That's what makes this ride fun, engaging, and interesting for everyone.
Set a timer for 61 minutes.
So this week we have a special guest with us. We have Beth York. Hey, Beth.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So Beth has been a member of the Zwift community for a little while and involved in the Zwift Academy last year. Beth also leads workouts for Zwift Academy currently, and she has recently launched a project called Zwift Watch that you might have heard about and you might have seen in social media, featuring profiles of riders from Zwift, the Ride-On Rider profile. So we'll talk about those, but just start, Beth. Thanks again for joining us. So can you
Thanks
tell
for
us,
having me.
Can you tell us more about your involvement with Zwift Academy?
Yeah, sure. So Zwift last spring, and as part of setting up my my trainer, and I was trying to learn everything I could about what Zwift was, and I stumbled upon Zwift Academy, and I thought at first, I'm like, oh, this is going to teach me how to use the game, or I didn't really know what it was. And then when I read about it, and it's a series of last year, I don't know if they're going to do the same format, but last year it was a number of group rides, coach training sessions through the workout mode, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. So, whoops, I think I lost you. There you are. And so I signed up, and one of the best sort of ways to learn about Zwift and get involved in the community.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, met a lot of really inspiring, strong riders. Where I end up sort of doing a lot of solo work because of my schedule. And I finally felt like I had, other women who were similarly matched interest and passion. And so it was really quite engaging. community level as well as a fitness level. And I would say I kind of came into the program injured. Of course, who else wants to spend August on a trainer? But there was 100 of us that kind of completed the 27 workouts. I think it was, gosh, I forget how many number of group rides we did, but my level of fitness through my injury increased substantially, and it meets you where you are. It's not like you have to be some superstar cyclist to do the program. It's all of the workouts, as you might know, are in the workout mode and use your FTP as a basis. So it's not completely tailored to you. And it was the first time I actually had structured cycling training with watts. And so I learned a ton, and, it amounted to improvements, meeting other women cyclists, and really marketable improvement outside.
Sure. And I think it was a big success, and it's bound to be even bigger this year. If those of you who are interested can go on the workouts menu in Zwift and see the types of workouts. Now, I know that some ladies here are interested in the Zwift Academy this year. And Roxanne, we were talking a little bit about your involvement as well, and you wanted to get involved this year. And one of the things that came up was, it's hard to be on a trainer, I guess, in the summer, depending on where you are in the world. So could we, Roxanne, do you have any comments about that?
Well, yeah, I think for me, it was really hard, and being injured, it was sort of my option, so it worked out. But I understand they're going to be starting it later this year in September, and I'm hoping, and I don't have any details, this is just sort of my observations, is I'm hoping that will mean more people, they moved the date so that more people could take advantage of participating. Last year, there were like 1,200 women, which is pretty amazing for an inaugural event. Yeah. And then I think 100 of us, if you're wondering about that rainbow jersey, that's the that the women completed the program here received for completing all the workouts and rides in the prescribed time period. So I always wear that with a little bit of pride, because the buckets of sweat that were under my trainer to earn that. And, people outside of the game that don't know about Zwift, would probably think I'm crazy that I'm like, I got the rainbow jersey.
Right.
But it does mean something, and it means a lot. And, to follow, Leah, who won last year, and, it's like I was on group rides with her, and we were making jokes, and, it really humanizes the sport. And, I feel like I have someone to root for,
Sure.
that feels like, feels really cool. Part of the same kind of group. We all did the same things together.
Yep. That's
so
awesome.
I would encourage anybody to do it. Even if you think you might not be able to complete it, there's nothing to be intimidated about. There's nothing, the only thing you have to gain is sort of improvement. And so I would really encourage as many women to do it as they can. It's a remarkable experience.
Agreed. Yeah, no, this is great. And between Zwift Academy seasons, if you will, there are a couple of events on the calendar on a weekly basis, and many of you actually join those. I recognize your names from it. So there are workouts that Beth leads, that I lead, to keep that community engaged, and hopefully getting everybody together and excited for the next season of Zwift Academy.
Exactly. We broke up a little bit there, but the two rides that led are the Tuesday morning sprint workout. It's 5:35 a.m. East Coast U.S. time. And it's always been a really fun ride. And then one of my other pals that I ride a lot with Inga Jansen. She and I were spending time trying to slog up the mountain to earn our Tron bike. And we were like, oh, we should have, like a Queen of the Mountain series for ladies who want to do a little bit longer ride. And, there's been the ODivaZ Saturday race. So we were like, well, what a nice compliment to that would be sort of endurance training. So in April and May, sort of the opposite Saturdays of the race, we've been leading sort of longerish rides with challenging climbs, and it's been really fun.
That's great. It's also a good ride for endurance and skills and climbing, just working on different things. Yep. And we'll go back to the ODivaZ race in a few minutes. But before we do, Beth, tell us about the project that you've been leading involving the ladies on Zwift and ZwiftWatch. What is ZwiftWatch?
Well, ZwiftWatch kind of was hatched in my head when I just kept being blown away by all of the interesting people that I would see on the ladies page, and these just amazing stories that were inspiring, whether it's, career changers, everyone trying to sort of make their life work. And I was just so blown away. And, let me try to encapsulate these real people behind the avatar in a way to sort of increase that connection, because it's really hard to explain how you can have a connection with somebody from riding around, in a virtual world. But you really do forge these connections. And I wanted to sort of bring forth sort of that awesomeness that I was seeing in sort of a nice, engaging format. And I am a video producer by trade. So I was like, well, there's so many great things that the community already does with these types of rides and, shared learning. Well, what can I add? How can I contribute my skills and combine it with my passion? And ZwiftWatch.tv was born.
Yes, and Kirsten is commenting, that's why the videos are so awesome. Yeah, that's...
Thank you.
Yeah, so you might have, if you have not seen the videos, I encourage you to go to the ZwiftWatch.tv Facebook page and look at them also on YouTube and see some of the profiles already there. It's just great to see and learn more about the ladies that we ride with on Zwift, and just seeing them, recognizing the face and understanding what Zwift means to them. It's just a great project.
Well, thank you. I encourage, I know some people are more shy about these things than others, and but I encourage anybody who wants to, share their story to reach out to me, because, I promise to handle your, you kind of, it's like you open up your bathrobe to somebody. You're like, hi, here I am. This material, and what are you going to do with it? And so, trust is a big part of what I'm trying to do, is to handle your story and present it in a way that is genuine to who you are, reflects who you are. And so if anyone was feeling shy, and maybe now that they've seen a couple and want to participate, I would absolutely love it. And then the other thing I'm starting is another series called Rider to Rider. And these are similar to the profile in the sense that we get to meet a face behind the avatar, but more that, there's a lot of shared learning that happens. And, I'll go back and search a Facebook post and say, all right, what did so-and-so say about this? And what did so-and-so say about that? Because really good nuggets of information in the comments. And I want to go back and find that information. So, what if some of the riders who have something to share, what if we packaged up some tips? So we're going to have a rider to rider series on different topics. I'm working on one now that is sort of endurance racing focused, so that we can kind of be specific to a type of race or style of riding. So I'm psyched to be working on that. Hopefully I'll get that out this week. depending on my editing availability. But yeah, so if other riders have things to share besides things about themselves, these rider to rider series is a great way to share knowledge and packaging them up in a video format, and so people can easily digest them.
Wonderful. So we have a couple of ladies here on Discord with us. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they want to make? Don't be shy.
Right, and you can even hear me breathing. And this is supposed to be an easy ride. I'm like, oh yeah, when you
How long were you on Zwift before you started to kind of have that idea for Zwift TV?
Well, I've been on for about a year now. Probably about 6 months ago, I started thinking about it, and I was a little shy about reaching out about it because, I hadn't really crystallized what it was that I could offer or what it was that I could do. So it was sort of an evolution in my mind of how I could execute on an idea and provide something that people would enjoy. So probably about 6 months ago, and then probably about 3 months ago is when I just sort of threw it out to the universe and put it on the ladies' Facebook page. And I'm like, all right, guys, this is what I'm going to do. And, sometimes when you say something out loud, it's the first step in making it real. So, that was me sort of, kind of putting my toe in the water and then realizing I'm going to jump right in, so kind of how it goes.
That's really inspiring. I also do video production, so it's really cool to see how you've married your two passions.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Well, hey, we should talk offline. That I definitely would love to talk to you about your experience with video production and what type of projects you do.
Sounds cool. I'm from Singapore, so we could give you some information about Asia, I guess. Yeah, could do.
Well, that would be great, because one of the things I know with these profiles is that some people, English isn't their first language. And my objective is to really reflect the diversity of the what I call the global village of Zwift. And I would love to have people who may want to contribute, but feel, if English isn't their first language, I'd love to have them do it in their own language, and we can add subtitles with the help of someone who can do the good translation for me. So, because I want to hear the voices,
Yeah.
So it would be great. We could definitely talk about that. So, and for sure, that would be awesome.
Brilliant. Ideas machine.
Sounds good.
Yes, and Kirsten just put a comment in here that one of the best things about Zwift also is getting to ride and know people from all over the world. Very true.
I couldn't agree more. I love when I see all the different flags, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, so amazing. And recently, I posted about gummy bears and Red Bull, and Carrie Conover, who I've raced alongside with, and she posted a candy. She's like, what about these? We have these, and she's gonna mail me some. That is so cool. Like, that just makes my day that someone from overseas is gonna mail me some candy I haven't tried. And I know that's really silly, but I am so excited about that.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah,
and we get to share.
Or those of us who were born in a country, live in another, and then try to decide which flag to put on Zwift. Do I put the flag that I'm from? Do I put the flag where I'm at?
Yeah.
So there's some of that too.
Of course.
All right. So we talked about races. We touched on races during this conversation already, and that's how Beth and I connected. At first, it was through the ODivaZ ladies race that happens the first and third Saturdays of every month. And we race together quite often, Beth.
Yep.
So we thought that racing could be a good topic to cover as well. The ODivaZ race, for example, is a great race for beginners as well as experienced racers. it just helps you understand the dynamics of a race. Yes, it is in a virtual world, but you still put on real effort. There are a lot of principles that still apply. For example, do I chase the group in front of me? Do I hold with the group that I'm at? When do I do a breakaway? Should I even race in the first place? Why would I race? I would say I have gotten so much stronger since I started doing these races. And the more you do them, the more you learn about yourself as a cyclist. The more you learn about your limits, your weaknesses, your strengths. You can see improvements over time, and you get to know your fellow racers over time, if it's the same race, such as the one that I mentioned on Zwift, so that you start to apply tactics as well. So I think now that the outdoor season is upon us, so many of us anyway, it's a good time to talk about races, indoors and outdoors. And I recognize that many of you have participated in that race. So I guess I'll start with a question to the group that you can answer on Discord or type in, however you feel comfortable. Do you do races? Let's just start with that one, yes or no?
No.
I know that many of us here do races in real life as well as on Zwift. Megan is new to racing. Ollie's done too. Indoors or outdoors, Megan? Was it a Zwift race or was it outdoors race? Zwift races, great. That's a great way to start. That should, like I said, help you build some knowledge and then take the risk and go race outdoors. The other thing is sometimes we're so hard on ourselves and we think that in order to race, we need to be really, really good and we need to have a great chance at winning, which is not true. You have to start somewhere. And in fact, it's even better if you don't have experience because then you say to yourself, I'm just here for the experience. And you see what happens is you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You might be surprised with your own performance. But really, the fun thing about racing, when I started cycling, I didn't think about racing at all. But then I realized after I did my first race, that that's really when everything comes together. And what I mean by that is, that's really when you finally see why you've been training. And you can finally see the results of your training. Not necessarily because you won, but just the fact that you're there alongside other racers. It's just a great energy, something to be involved in. And so we can talk about some tactics in racing for those of you who have questions about it. I'll start with some principles that are applicable to all races. And when I say all races, I leave out mountain biking and I leave out crits because they're so specific. So let's see a scenario of a gravel or road race that is maybe, and time trials too. That's not a race, right? But a scenario where you have a 62-mile, for example, race on the road or in gravel. And my experience with my first race, I knew that from the gate, everybody was just gonna go super hard and super fast. So as soon, if there was a neutral rollout with a vehicle in front holding the pace of the race, as soon as the race was open, there was going to be some major breakaways. So I learned that you need to try to position yourself right from the beginning, and you should expect that first hour of the race to be very difficult. You should expect to put out an effort at or near threshold for the first hour of that race. so you can hold a good position. Now, it's tricky when it's a big event because you don't know the other racers, and you have to, on the spot, try to identify a group that you can hang on with. But one thing is certain, if you don't know, just go hard and try to get in the group. Now, one thing about races, you have to conserve energy. So you do have the first hour that is a hard hour, and there are a lot of skills that come into play on how you position yourself, et cetera. We can go through those. But if you think about it, in a long race, there will really only be about 3, 4, 5 massive explosive efforts that you're going to have. For example, closing a gap, making a break, holding the wheel off a climb, responding to an attack, or sprinting. The rest of the time, you're hanging on, and you should try to conserve by positioning yourself in a peloton. So the place to position yourself as well is near the 20%, the front 20% of the group that you're in. Because typically, let's say, if you're in a group of 100 people, if you're right in the middle of the pack, you're probably using only 45% of the same power or energy that the first riders are using. So you're conserving there. If you're in the back, you're probably only conserving 20%. There's a lot of surges in the back, and it gets tricky. So no one is riding up in the line, right? It's just a group, just like we are right now in Zwift. So being towards the front, you'll be able to save more energy, you decrease the chances that you're going to get dropped,